Hi, everyone, and welcome to English for a Better World. Today we have a thought stimulating lesson 9. Work is love made visible. Well, what an interesting thought, right? It's actually a quote from Khalil Gibran. And so let's get into our lesson. What comes to mind when you think of work? Does this picture come to mind when you think of work? I bet it does, at least for most people, right? So just take a look at it. Do you see yourself in this picture? Or this picture comes to mind when you think of work? So let's look at both of them. Which one comes to mind when you think of work? And another question is, why do we work? Do we work to make money? Do we work to stay alive? And if we had enough money to keep us alive forever, would we still work? Well, so our theme is work is love made visible, and you will learn a lot of vocabulary to talk about work, grammar, used to be used to, get used to. We will look at the differences between them. And we have an interesting lecture, a short talk about choosing a career. All right, so now we have food for thought. Let's think about these quotes related to work, of course. The first one, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Well, it's obvious, right? What it takes to enjoy what we do. Choice, right? Choice. If we choose it, we choose what we love. Yes, it's not a job. It's something else, and we will find out soon. Next one is passion, right? It's a cliche right now. Follow your passion. So the only way to get what you really want is to let go of what you don't want. Unfortunately, very few people can afford to let go of what they don't want in this world. And of course, Khalil Gibran again, work is love made visible. And look at that picture. It's an expression of love, right? Okay, and finally, we have a familiar picture. I think it's all too familiar to all of you. Men, for the sake of living, forget to live. So go ahead, tell us what you think about these quotes in the comment section below. Next, we have vocabulary for this lesson. And again, find the odd one out. So we have profession, job, career. Rewarding, satisfying, existing. Detrimental, beneficial, useful. Tedious, unrewarding, boring. To pick out, to choose, to take up. To do a major, to study a major, to take a course. Current, disconnect, separate. Well, as I said, these are the words for this lesson. So pause the video, do this exercise, and look up the words that you don't know. Now let's look at these words in context. It helps you to understand the words better, okay? So read the sentences and choose the correct answer. What makes a good job? Well, let's ask Bob. I like to think that other people directly benefit from my work. I feel better when I know my work is not just about earning money. I believe that work will be meaningless if it's not beneficial to others, no matter how much money one makes. And I think he's right. It expresses my view as well. I agree with that. Well, Marwan, what makes a good job? You love what you do. There's no point going to work if you hate what you do. Security. I like knowing that I will have a job as long as I perform my job. And autonomy, doing my job the way I want to as long as I get it done. Well, time for our dialogue. This is a dialogue about what makes people unhappy with their job. or why are people unhappy with their job? So you will listen to Bob, Noor, and Amy discuss their own feelings about their jobs and their jobs. Okay, so pause the video and listen to the dialogue. Amy, Noor, what did you do before becoming an English teacher? Noor, well, in college I studied civil engineering and I used to work for a big construction company. Bob, so why did you quit? Noor, I did not feel at home working for that company because I would do whatever the management told me. I mean, I didn't have the chance to be creative. I'm glad I gave it up because I'm getting used to teaching and I love it. What about you guys? How did you end up teaching English? Emmy, as you know, I used to live in the US before coming to Dubai. I did journalism in college in Iran and then I won US green card lottery. Well, I didn't have the chance to work as a journalist and so I decided to take a short course on teaching English and here I am. Bob, I have always wanted to do something that would reflect who I am. Before coming to Dubai, I was in England working in a factory. I didn't feel comfortable working just to stay alive, and so I made up my mind to look for a job that would really satisfy me, and so I took up teaching. Emmy, most people aren't happy with their jobs because they don't choose what to do, they don't own what they make, they are like machines working for someone else, and they look at each others as potential rivals. But I guess when people get used to something, it's hard for them to let go. Noor, that's sad but true. For example, we're used to teaching in this institute, but I'm sure we will feel a lot better when we set up our own institute and become our own boss. Now, let's consider the differences between job and work, the real nature of work. Real work, the concept of work, is an expression of ourselves, our creativity, and our contribution to other human beings, our love for other human beings. The first one is about human essence. In fact, Iranians have a proverb that says, work is the essence of humans. So, in what way is it our essence? Just look at the picture. I am what I do. People love my bread. I enjoy sharing my talent. So you can say about your job, I don't know if people love it. People love my classes. I hope so. I enjoy sharing my talent. People love my designs. I enjoy sharing my talent. So it is through your work that you express your creativity, your love, and your contribution. You contribute to the well-being of other people. It's about Ubuntu again. So work is actually an expression of our Ubuntu, human essence. I am who I am because of who you are. So now let's look at this code. The meaning of life is to find your gift, your passion. The purpose of life is to give it away. So now, your turn. Find out how meaningful your work is by finishing this sentence. People love my what you do. I enjoy sharing my talent. Now we have a short talk. You will listen to a short talk about choosing a career and then answer questions, right? So basically the short talk about what factors people consider when choosing a career and why, and when is work fulfilling and when it's not. So go ahead, listen and answer the questions. The main reason why most people end up with tedious jobs is that they are trapped by a system which makes them work to satisfy other needs and related to work. In other words, our work can only be fulfilling when it is a satisfaction of a need. Humans have a need to express their creativity through the work they do, but the existing system forces them to work just for money to stay alive. As a result, money is seen as the most important factor when looking for a job. In turn, this leads to a disconnect between means and end. On the other hand, people have been raised to opt for a career regardless of its relevance to society. In fact, the system creates the perception that individual needs and social needs are in conflict, and so our career choices do not necessarily have to be useful to society. However, our work can be rewarding when it's beneficial to others. For instance, a lot of money can be made by selling drugs or weapons, but these are very detrimental to society. Therefore, this can't be a good job. In addition, the need for gaining social approval plays a huge role in choosing a profession. For example, medicine and engineering are considered to be prestigious jobs, and most people pursue them regardless of whether they are cut out for them or not. For this reason, many people go through their lives with a deep sense of dissatisfaction despite their so called high social status. In short, our work can be meaningful when it is useful to society and when it helps us realize our potentials as individuals. So, it's highly recommended that young people consider these two interconnected elements when picking out a career. Grammar focus. Used to, be used to, get used to. Let's look at the differences between them. We use used to for something that happened regularly in the past but no longer happens. Actually, we covered this grammar point before, but this can be a good review as well. This particular use, used to. I used to smoke a packet a day, but I stopped 2 years ago. I used to drive to work, but now I take the bus. So something you did regularly in the past, but you don't do anymore. We also use it for something that was true but no longer is. There used to be a cinema in the town, but now there isn't. I did not used to like him, but now I do. Now let's look at be used to. I am used to, you are used to, he is used to. We use be used to doing something, and it's ing, gerund, to say that something is normal, not unusual. I'm used to living on my own. I have done it for quite a long time. Hans has lived in England for over a year, so he's used to driving on the left now. And finally, get used to doing something. Well, we use it to talk about the process of something becoming normal for us. I did not understand the accent when I first moved here, but I quickly got used to it. I don't know whether this is a good thing or not, but we human beings tend to get used to almost everything. Let's practice. Now, some of the sentences below are wrong. Correct them. Pause the video and correct the mistakes in the sentences. Well, we have come to the end of our lesson on the real nature of work, which, as we have seen, is not the same thing as having a job. When we work for money, as the vast majority of people do, unfortunately, what's happening here is that we are engaging in an alienated activity, which is often characterized by a dehumanizing disconnect between means and end. You do something for as a means to an end unrelated to the activity, like doing homework. For instance, when a woman sells her body out of economic necessity rather than out of love, she's engaging in an alienated activity. I will let you draw your own conclusion about your work. By the way, did you know that weekend is nothing but a break from this alienated activity? See you next week.